Of course there is a pterosaur as a thumbnail with a title called Dinosaurs of the Late Cretaceous. Oh boy, this is going to go well.
Was life on Earth ever like a fairy tale? Perhaps if you go back 100 million years ago, in the Cretaceous period.
Okay, so we're talking about the very start of the Late Cretaceous.
How else to call the mysterious, impenetrable thickets of lush forests and ferns taller than a person? And most importantly, the absolutely unimaginable monsters that roamed these thickets.
Monsters? Bro, they're just animals. Animals like any other animal.
We know that dinosaurs...
Hold on, you're talking about 100 million years ago. Why are you now showing ceratopsians that are clearly meant for the very end of Cretaceous, or close to the end of the Cretaceous? They look like ceratopsians from the Campanian to Maastrichtian age of the late Cretaceous.
Lived there. And at the end of the Cretaceous period, the ancient reptiles reached their highest peak.
What do you mean highest peak? No need to be vague.
For example, scientists from the University of California counted 2.5 billion tyrannosaurs over the entire period of their existence. These
T-Rex on Evolutionary Journey is not a good source for educational videos. It's a really bad paleodoc, and T-Rex isn't supposed to have that much plumage. I mean, T-Rex could have a little bit of... Adult T-Rex could have a little bit of plumage on the neck or something. Head. But this amount of plumage is for juvenile tyrannosaurs. If you want to give a T-Rex this much plumage, just give it to a juvenile. And also other smaller tyrannosaurids like Albertosaurus also have plumage. But we're not talking about Albertosaurus, we're talking about Tyrannosaurus.
Dinosaurs are considered the most aggressive and successful predators
They at least show Triceratops defending itself.
of all time. But there
Oh god, not Clash the Dinosaurs. It's worse than T-Rex and Evolutionary Journey.
were also dinosaurs with horns, hooves, duck beaks, huge crests on their heads, and bizarre bone collars on their necks. Not to mention thousands of teeth. Some of them may even have emitted flames from their nostrils like fire-breathing dragons.
Wait, what? Are you talking about mythical creatures or something? Well, why are you talking about mythical creatures when this is clearly paleontology?
However, this scientific hypothesis hasn't yet been proven.
That is a scientific hypothesis from the medieval era.
Well, scientists have no doubts about the monstrous size of some reptiles. In China's northern province of Hebei, a group of paleontologists has unearthed about 4,300 dinosaur footprints. There were leg prints that reached several meters. This is a bit less than a Ford Focus car. According to scientists, the giants were over 15 meters, 50 feet long.
Where did you get that from? I don't see it from sources.
Just like a railroad car. But there's so much more that dinosaurs could surprise us with.
Of course, you're now showing the Velociraptor from Jurassic Park. I don't know, 2, maybe 3. I'm not sure where this Velociraptor is from, but... Dude, Jurassic Park, not an educational source. Jurassic Park, leave that to entertainment, not education.
Which of them were
What is that theropod supposed to be? Did it come from Monsters Resurrected or something?
similar to chimeras that seem to be several creatures at the same time?
I thought it was Acro, but then there's the Sauropelta that didn't coexist with Acro, so it's not possible.
Why did one of the dinosaurs need horrendous meter-long claws like Freddy Krueger?
Freddy Krueger! Man, do I have any better... do you have any other better comparison? Although, to be fair, these claws can be used to slap some fools.
And which of the flying reptiles had a wingspan that reached to the height of a 2-story building?
That's 6 meters. It's only in range of about a Lanquod Pteranodon wingspan.
we invite you to immerse yourself in the incredible ancient world of the Cretaceous period.
Late Cretaceous. You said that in the title. Stop being vague.
And get to know who inhabited the Earth during the last brightest era
Man, this is such a ridiculous scene from T-Rex and Evolutionary Journey.
of dinosaurs.
Okay, how many times do I have to say this? Dinosaurs cannot roar.
Dinosaurs of the late Cretaceous.
In all honesty, Jurassic Fight Club has a much cooler narrator than any one of those videos. This is not a personal attack or anything, it's just my opinion.
The second stage of the Cretaceous began 101.5 million years ago.
Did you even bother checking Wikipedia before making the video? I'm aware that was a minor mistake, but I still have to point that out.
And ended 66 million years ago. At that time, dinosaurs could no longer roam freely around the planet.
They were able to roam freely. It's just non-avian dinosaurs got eliminated by an asteroid. It's after effects. And also, what do you mean no longer roam freely? After a while, when all the dust cleared up, the birds just came in and roam freely. Roam freely. And birds are dinosaurs, so technically dinosaurs continue to roam freely.
Inside the Earth, tectonic plates continued to move, changing the shape of the land on the surface. America gradually moved westward, causing the Atlantic Ocean to expand. The western inland sea route divided North America into eastern and western parts. India kept heading north towards Asia.
Man, that's still a wrong depiction of tectonic plates. Why am I talking about geology now? Actually, I don't mind geology here. Get to Christopher Scott Tees, okay? It's not entirely accurate, but at least it's closer to reality than this low-quality stuff.
In the southern hemisphere, Australia and Antarctica were probably still connected and began to move away from Africa and South America. Europe was a chain of islands. By the very end of the period,
This is another source that is just not trustworthy. That is an inaccurate depiction of 90 million years ago. Here's a better one for you. You're welcome.
continents started to resemble their modern shape. Africa and South America have acquired their usual outlines.
This segment is now mostly about geology and paleobiology, so yeah, I'm just going to fast forward that. Well, I don't expect much coming from this video. The geology part is okay, I suppose. That's one of the good qualities of this video, but come on, we're not talking about geology, okay? This is not our main topic. Paleontology is the main topic.
And there were a lot of creatures that would really surprise modern people. Here, for example, is Manipulator modificaputus. Nowadays, some devices are called that.
What? I don't see any devices. What do you mean by that? Stop being vague, please. Stop being vague.
And if we talk about Cretaceous, this is the name of the extinct predatory cockroach. This is a nanomonster of the Cretaceous period.
Nanomonster? Come on, bro, that term is just absolutely ridiculous.
With an elongated neck and a freely rotating head. The insect's body was only 4.5 millimeters.
The insect body is 9.3 millimeters long with 14.7 millimeter long forewings for male and 10.9 millimeters in body length, 13.4 millimeters forewing length for female.
0.18 inches long.
Dude, do you hate cockroaches that much? This is paleontology, not a cockroach slaughterhouse.
And 2 millimeters, 0.079 inches wide. The cockroach also had unusually long legs. According to scientists, this indicates its predatory lifestyle. So it was easier for a tiny predator to chase prey, for example, microscopic midges.
Dude, they lack necessary weaponry for capturing prey, so they're not specialized predators. Well, at least not likely to be specialized predators.
The Burma pogon flies were probably even more cruel hunters.
I thought we're talking about dinosaurs, not some random fly discovered in 2014 that no one knows about.
They belong to a species that scientists call killer flies.
They're not called killer flies. They are called rubber flies, also called assassin flies.
These are powerful, bristly flies with a short, thick proboscis covering a sharp, sucking larynx and pharynx.
Okay, so they're trying to connect these random insects to this video that is clearly about dinosaurs.
The term killer flies reflects the insect's aggressive habits. They tirelessly waited for the prey in an ambush and then quickly caught it right on the fly. New creatures also appeared in the warm seas and lakes of the late Cretaceous. Stingrays and modern sharks populated the sea, as well as many bony fish species.
Now they're talking about sea creatures. When we get to the dinosaurs already. To be fair, you let me know about 2 new random insect genuses.
At the bottom, sea urchins and starfish thrived, and coral reefs continued to grow. Ichthyosaurs and plesiosaurs gave way to huge snake-like mosasaurs.
Mosasaurs. Every time you pronounce stuff incorrectly, one part of my heart dies inside.
Some of them real giants and well over 17 meters.
Mosasaurus wasn't that long at all. Not even Tylosaurus was longer than 17 meters.
56 feet long. Mosasaurus preferred to live in the open ocean and deep coastal waters.
They lived in warm, shallow inland seas.
Sometimes they caught small fish and, more often, hunted very large and well-protected prey.
What do you mean by that? I don't see any giant turtles around.
They preferred to eat marine reptiles for lunch, especially turtles and plesiosaurs. These dinosaurs even devoured their own kind.
I mean, there is evidence of Tylosaurs hurting each other.
Resorting to cannibalism. Scientists believe that at a young age, Mosasaurus could attack animals larger than their size.
Which is unlikely.
Mosasaurus' teeth were...
Of course you're showing Jurassic World Mosasaurus. Prehistoric Kingdom. If you're watching this, if you haven't added Mosasaurs yet, please add the accurate Mosasaurs. Not inspired from the ones from Jurassic World Evolution, please. This guy definitely needs better sources for education.
Well adapted for cutting and crushing, and their massive jaw muscles provided tremendous bite force. Mosasaurs dismembered their prey into many relatively small pieces before eating. Most giants couldn't swallow large pieces of prey whole. The sky of the late Cretaceous period was already quite densely populated by small, real birds and their predecessors, Archaeopteryx.
Wasn't Archaeopteryx from the Jurassic period?
But the most populous were winged reptiles, pterosaurs. Some of them were absolutely amazing creatures. The Quetzalcoatlus pterosaur is considered one of the largest known flying animals of all time.
How many people just forget about the Hatzegopteryx existence? It's likely more robust, which would add to the mass.
Paleontologists have found bones of individuals up to 10 meters, 33 feet tall, but weighing only 70 kilograms, 150 pounds. As huge as airplanes, the creatures had unusually long, stiff necks. They had a crest on their heads, although its exact shape and size are still unknown. The scientists have calculated the wingspan of flying giants. It reached 16 meters.
Which is just absolutely ridiculous. Not even a Lamborghini or Cryodrakon reached that wingspan.
52 feet. This is higher than a 2-story house.
I'm confused by what you said earlier.
But the fantastic properties of the pterosaur don't end there. It perfectly combined the air and land lifestyle. Quetzalcoatlus flew effortlessly using hovering and wing flapping.
Wouldn't the Quetzalcoatlus just, glide? I'm pretty sure it wouldn't have to flap around with its wings just to maintain flight.
At the same time, they were quite good at running on the ground on 4 legs, like modern hoofed mammals. This helped the pterosaur to be a successful Cretaceous predator. Using a long, sharp beak, Quetzalcoatlus caught...
Now you're showing Hatzegotrex. And in other parts, you just showed other pterosaurs as well.
...fish and little vertebrates on land or in small streams. Well, it didn't even avoid
Man, you're just showing random pterosaurs at this point.
Carrion like a marabou stork. And of course the dinosaurs dominated on land, big and small, slow and super fast, herbivores and predators.
You know, herbivores can be predators too, like for example, the Triceratops being an omnivore, it likely also ate insects and stuff.
Nodosaurus became the most common among herbivorous giants of the Cretaceous.
What period and where? Why do you always gotta be so vague, bro?
These four-legged reptiles didn't look much like the huge sauropods of the Jurassic period.
How do you even compare Nodosaurus to sauropods, man? This is one of the most ridiculous statements I've ever heard of in my life.
They had relatively short limbs compared to the columnar legs of the Jurassic sauropods.
They lived in completely different time periods, bro. Don't compare them. Nodosaurus lived 99.7 to 86.3 million years ago during the late Cretaceous. What are you even talking about at this point?
They didn't grow to be as high as the megagiants of the Mesozoic era. On average, Nodosaurus were 6 meters, 20 feet long, and weighed 3.5 tons. But this animal was quite well protected. Their body was covered with an impenetrable shell of a dense bone plate layer.
These are called osteoderms. You're welcome.
So the giants could safely eat young shoots in the forest without fear of predators. Their elongated muzzles with massive jaws, small leaf-shaped teeth, and a horny beak were perfectly adapted for their diet. But other predominantly herbivorous dinosaurs, namely Therizinosaurus, can be called real monsters of the late Cretaceous period.
Come on, they're animals like any other animal. How many times do I have to say it?
These reptiles were probably 9 to 12 meters long.
The 12-meter estimate is just not correct. It's 10 at most.
And weighed up to 6 tons.
I mean, it weighed over 5 tons, so 6 is possible?
They walked on 2 massive legs, and their forelimbs were very long and reached 3.5 meters.
2.4.
But their terrible claws made them look like Freddy Krueger from the famous horror movie.
Oh my god. I remember you're trying to compare these claws to Freddy Krueger's. Man, they're both completely different. Freddy Krueger is a human with I don't know what you call it, but let's get back to the video.
Although the largest specimens of claws found by paleontologists were incomplete, they were estimated to be almost a meter long. Scientists haven't yet come to consensus as to why the dinosaur needed such equipment.
Grab food to eat, slap some fools, maybe display purposes, just hook and pull, scratch, digging, piercing.
However, it's obvious that it gave the reptile some survival advantages. For example, Therizinosaurus could defend themselves with their terrible claws against larger, more aggressive predators, such as Tyrannosaurus.
Dude, Tyrannosaurus lived in North America in a different time period. Didn't you mean Tarbosaurus?
Or fight for territory or a female with the dinosaurs of the same species. It's likely that Therizinosaurus also used their claws to pull branches with the most succulent leaves to their mouth. But they also ate insects and may have torn apart nests of ants and termites. Finally, there's a hypothesis that the claws helped the reptiles to rest in a safe place, hanging from trees like modern sloths.
Wouldn't the sheer weight of around 50 to 60,000 newtons be too much for tree branches to handle?
It seems that there were no creatures in the world more terrible than these reptiles with their mega claws. But what would you say about the Hadrosaurus if you got to know it better?
They are aggressive, massive dinosaurs with the mentality of a hippo. Violence first. Given how much they have to defend against their predators, I'm not surprised that they are this aggressive.
The These huge animals were up to 25 feet, 7.6 meters long.
I don't see any 7.6 meter hadrosaur. Oh, what genus are you talking about?
And weighed 8 tons.
How am I supposed to say if you're right or wrong if you didn't even provide what that hadrosaur was?
Like chimeras, they had wide noses resembling a duck's beak and hooves on their front paws. And on their heads, there was a hollow helmet. There is a theory that inside this crest was combustible gas.
I have never seen a statement like that before. Hadrosaurs having combustible gas inside their crests. What?
Like a real dragon, the dinosaur threw it out in danger, somehow igniting it when the gas irritated its nostrils.
Look, hadrosaurs are OP, but that doesn't mean that they have dragon breath. This is paleontology, not TikTok.
By the way, the fire could be cold. Many esters of organic and inorganic acids can ignite. This is enough to scare off the enemy.
Wouldn't the sheer size of the hadrosaurs and the fact that they could use their entire body as a weapon scare off the predators more than gas? Than exhaling combustible gas? Why is this statement even a thing, bruh?
Unfortunately, this hypothesis doesn't have enough evidence.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. Who even came up with that statement? They're gonna need some education.
Most likely, the helmet served as an airbag for the dinosaur and allowed it to keep its head underwater while looking for food. Or the dinosaur made sounds of danger, warning relatives by releasing air from the helmet through its nostrils. The Hadrosaurus's skin was covered with small scales, and there were bone growths on the skull. There was a huge number of teeth in its scary mouth. Some animals had about 1,000 teeth.
Again, what hadrosaur are you talking about here? Actual Hadrosaurus or something else? I have no idea.
It was the most toothy dinosaur among all the ancient reptiles that ever existed. And yet Hadrosaurus would certainly have seemed almost innocent looking compared to Triceratops.
Hadrosaurs aren't innocent looking. They can literally slap you. I would be more terrified to see a hadrosaur than T-Rex, to be honest. Also, you're just sticking to Clash of the Dinosaurs again. Okay, Triceratops is okay in Clash of the Dinosaurs, I guess.
It would seem their only look could render anyone speechless. These huge reptiles were 8 meters, 26 feet long.
8 to 9 meters. You're also just talking about Triceratops porus, right? Because Triceratops horridus is shorter and smaller. Porus is 8.7 meters in length. Horridus is 6.7 to 7.3 meters in length.
And weighed 9 tons.
Porus still wasn't that heavy. 8.4 to 8.6 tons. And Triceratops horridus is about 5.
Paleontologists consider the largest skull among land animals to be an amazing find. About 2.4 meters, 8 feet long.
2.5 meters, 8.2 feet.
It belonged to a Triceratops. So the monster's head was a little less than a third of its entire body.
Okay, so I'm not going to complain about these animals being called monsters anymore. I've already complained way too many times.
But what made the giant Triceratops head truly scary were 3 horns. A horn protruded menacingly over the animal's nostrils, and one grew over each eye. An even more unusual feature of the Triceratops was a kind of firm bone collar around the neck. The purpose of this growth, as well as the reptile's horns, have long been discussed. Traditionally, they were seen as a defensive weapon against predators.
That's because they are literally equipped to deal with tyrannosaurs, and they win most engagements.
But now it's considered more likely that the horns were used primarily in courtship and to fight relatives.
Yes, but they also use their horns to gore on their opponent.
Everything is like that in modern deer, mountain goats, and even rhinoceros beetles. Triceratops' skin was also unique. It was incredibly thick and according to some evidence, was bristled in some species. However, the formidable appearance, thick skin, bone collar, and horns didn't save the Triceratops from the attack of the most aggressive predators of the Cretaceous period.
Dude, the Tyrannosaurus' unprotected body is always vulnerable to a strike from a trike. It's one of the main reasons why Triceratops wins most engagements. It's the Tyrannosaurus' posture.
In popular culture, one can often see fights of horned reptiles with tyrannosaurs. Scientists confirm that this might be true. They found a Triceratops skull with teeth marks from a Tyrannosaurus rex on the frontal horn. Furthermore, there were found the heads of these dinosaurs severed from the body, also with traces of T-Rex bites. Although one shouldn't think the giants dominate.
Oh god, it's Troposaurus, the mightiest ever. Oh my lord. This show has, in my opinion, the worst portrayals of raptors ever, as well as a Heterosaurus. How could a Centaurosaurus just not step on the raptors? Dude, the Centaurosaurus is huge. It could just use its legs to just step on the raptors and just run away. Does it have the mentality of, oh my god, I cannot escape because these raptors have no escape from Jurassic World alive, and I don't have any swap prevention resistance. Oh no, I'm going to die.
Among the late Cretaceous dinosaurs, velociraptors were much smaller than tyrannosaurs.
Not to mention, in this show, they're portrayed as scaly. They're just completely nabbed off from Jurassic Park 3. Which, Jurassic Park is notorious for inaccurate dinosaurs. At least it's entertaining. Troposaurus, the mightiest ever, is just torture to go through. I may review it later on if I do get to it.
But also very dangerous.
How exactly? To a Protoceratops, yes. To a Pinacosaurus, no.
Velociraptor, meaning swift invader.
Swift thief, not swift invader.
Is a medium-sized dinosaur.
Let's use Megalosaurus for comparison. Megalosaurus weighed a little less than a ton. Are you talking about Jurassic Park / Jurassic World Velociraptor, aka Deinonychus, which weighed in at around 90 kilos? That's still midget in comparison to the Megalosaurus. So how are you going to possibly call a Velociraptor a medium-sized dinosaur? The real one is 14.1 to 19.7 kilos.
The largest adult specimen known to paleontologists is 2.07 meters, or 6.8 feet, long, and weighed up to 15 kilograms.
19.7 kilograms.
33 pounds.
And 43 pounds.
The jaws of these fast and aggressive predators were equipped with 26 to 28 widely spaced, very sharp teeth on each side. And the front paws were crowned with a large claw that could grow more than 6.5 centimeters, 2.5 inches long.
It didn't use to disembowel its prey. Nobody cares about that theory anymore.
Most likely, it served to tear apart or grab a resistant prey.
Grab, yes, but tear apart, no. These foot claws likely weren't sharp enough to disembowel their prey.
Mammals of the late Cretaceous, compared to fascinating reptiles of that time, seemed humble-looking and inconspicuous.
What? Now we're talking about mammals, not dinosaurs.
Basically, these were animals resembling modern mice, both in terms of size and appearance. But there were also absolutely amazing creatures among them. For example, Cronopio with long front teeth. Paleontologists believe this mammal looks like the bizarre saber-toothed squirrel from the Ice Age franchise.
What paleontologists would even compare that Cronopio mammal's teeth to Ice Age franchise?
Despite the fact that the planet was abundant in food for every taste, all these animals had to fight hard for their place under the Cretaceous sun. They spent their lives in constant pursuit of prey and in bloody fights for food. This is how, perhaps, animals lived in one of the corners of the planet on the shores of a lagoon of a warm, shallow sea. It often rained here, and the shores were probably covered with thickets of tall ferns with long, lush shoots.
Now we're just talking about geology, maybe geobiology. I still don't know much about geobiology.
A little farther, there was a green forest. There must have been a lot of animals there. Most likely it was impossible to call it a peaceful and friendly neighborhood. Lagoon inhabitants had violent fights all the time. Predators were looking for prey, and they also tried to get something for dinner, but at the same time not to get into someone else's teeth or claws. Perhaps one day a young Hadrosaurus came out to the lagoon to freshen up.
Okay, so I feel like this video was made more for entertainment and education. I said this feels more like a entertainment show than something that is supposed to be educational.
And catch small aquatic prey.
I mean, Lurdusaurus, even though it isn't small at all, and it's also not a hadrosaur.
As we know, its head had a growth in the form of a helmet. The dinosaur could swim well if this crest served as an airbag.
Now, what are you talking about? A Lambeosaurine?
Most likely, the lagoon water was teeming with fish, like other warm Cretaceous reservoirs.
They're also showing marine reptiles.
And the Hadrosaurus would probably decide to catch one of them for dinner. But as soon as it entered the water and was getting ready to hunt, something huge could jump out of the depths. Long and saw-sharp teeth would then dig into the Hadrosaurus flesh.
Again, I can't decide if you're correct or not because you didn't mention what hadrosaur.
Powerful jaws closed, breaking the reptile's bones, and the dead carcass would be dragged under the water. This was probably a Mosasaurus that jumped out of the sea and had a successful hunt.
Not a Mosasaurus, but a mosasaur.
Such prey was well suited for this water reptile. In the second episode of Jurassic Park,
Jurassic World, also called Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Also, that mosasaur is just too big. Just don't use Jurassic Park / Jurassic World for an education source.
it's shown how a giant Mosasaurus destroyed a boat with people. It may well be that the largest individuals could actually do it.
Even the longest and largest mosasaurs that ever lived weren't as long and large as the Jurassic World Mosasaurus.
But of course, after having a prey as huge as a Hadrosaurus, the Mosasaurus was satiated and didn't go hunting for a long time. The small inhabitants of this corner of the planet were also probably looking for food. Similar to the saber-toothed squirrel Chronopio, was looking for conifer cones and other fallen fruits for food. It was careful not to get into any predator's teeth. And as such, a predator could well have appeared right from the sky. This hungry Quetzalcoatlus soared down to get the little animal for dinner.
Chronopio and Quetzalcoatlus lived in completely different time periods. Do you mean just another mammal that coexisted with Quetzalcoatlus?
But it managed to dodge the claws of a flying predator and darted into its burrow.
You're just telling a story of a mammal with a title called Dinosaurs of the Late Cretaceous. Man.
However, in the thickets of ferns, there were definitely many reptiles scurrying around.
A bit confusing.
They perfectly matched the food requirements of the flying dinosaur.
A pterosaur. Or do you mean birds? Birds are flying dinosaurs, so maybe big birds preyed on those little mammals?
And it could easily keep on hunting. In the end, no doubt, it was bound for success, because there were more than enough small living creatures in the Cretaceous forests.
Oh, you're just talking about Quetzalcoatlus. That is not a dinosaur.
However, there lived many large animals too. In the forest, herds of herbivorous dinosaurs probably gathered for lunch. 12-meter Therizinosaurus.
I mean, people say it's better to be absolutely ridiculous than to be absolutely boring. Well, at least in entertainment.
Could reach very high and gnawed on tender young leaves from the treetops. When food ran out, they moved to other forests. At the same time, the reptiles preferred to be in herds. Such a lifestyle helped them protect their young from numerous Cretaceous predators. Unlike them, lower animals like 6-meter Nodosaurs fed in the middle forest tiers. These reptiles also lived in herds, which helped defend off predators. They certainly had strong bone armor, but together they could also whip off the enemy with powerful and hard tails.
One thing I forgot to mention is that these are supposed to be nodosaurs, but they look more like Sauropelta, and neither Nodosaurus nor Sauropelta coexisted with the Acrocanthosaurus.
Tyrannosaurus, which
Not T-Rex evolutionary journey again, bruh.
probably lived in that forest, also went hunting. It could take care of its own lunch. For example, catch a small velociraptor.
This is the dumbest statement I've ever seen in my life. Or one of the dumbest. Why would a T-Rex want to hunt a velociraptor? If one, they didn't even coexist. Like, they lived at different time periods, and they lived in different areas. And two, why would a T-Rex want to hunt a velociraptor anyway, if it's not worth the effort?
Of course, the T-Rex is an unsurpassed warrior and would easily tear to pieces this reptile the size of a large Christmas turkey. But don't forget that its potential prey ran fast.
Man, this is just insane. Who in the right mind thinks that the T-Rex hunted velociraptor?
And like all the inhabitants of the Cretaceous, was constantly on the alert. The velociraptor must have rushed off quickly and disappeared into a thicket, and was difficult for the Tyrannosaurus to chase.
At this point, I'm just imagining a T-Rex versus velociraptor scenario, not a real-life encounter.
However, the Tyrannosaurus would hardly have been left.
Okay, you're now just showing Tarbosaurus. And that Tarbosaurus from Tarbosaurus the Mightiest Ever is just wrong. Pronate wrists, way too thick of a skull, way too thick of everything, actually. Looks more like Phasmatatosaurus Rex from King Kong, also a should have lips.
Without prey. This predator always had a chance to catch some slower little dinosaur.
What grammar is this right now? Is this supposed to be from, I don't know, Russia?
But what if the T-Rex ran into another huge reptile in its hunting grounds and decided to attack it? For example, it met an 8-meter Triceratops. It would seem that just one look at this terrible 3-horned reptile with a huge collar around its head is enough to scare off the enemy.
Well, it would sure look intimidating, plus the Triceratops' horn posture and the T-Rex's body posture make it ever so easier for the Triceratops to win.
But that was not the case with the Tyrannosaurus Rex. This aggressive, agile dinosaur could well have pounced at the enemy.
Dude, it's too heavy to even jump. You're getting all this information from T-Rex and Evolutionary Journey, right?
Apparently, the unsurpassed T-Rex could easily avoid the horns and bite through the enemy's thick skin.
But let's not forget the Triceratops is abnormally agile. As well, like it could turn its head around quickly to deal with a Tyrannosaurus. So an ambush as bad as this wouldn't be feasible.
Having killed the Triceratops and fed on its flesh, it would have gone to rest deep into the forest for several days. And scavengers like velociraptors and other small dinosaurs.
Oh my god, you're just giving it Valley of the T-Rex treatment. Every carnivorous theropod is capable of hunting. And honestly, herbivore dinosaurs could just hunt for insects and other stuff. But I could be very, very wrong, so take that with a grain of salt.
May have devoured the remains of the carcass for a long time to come. Therefore, dinosaurs and other animals spent their days fighting on the shores of a picturesque lagoon. Even in the midst of an abundance of food,
Oh my god, not this scene again, bruh.
they had to fight, not for life, but for death. In the end, there were probably no absolute... All species survived. All these animals, of course, didn't know that the last day would soon come. Then, of course, another big, most advanced analyst picked up the computer. Just came from the sky. And the impact of the size among destroyed most living beings on the planet. But the celestial killer couldn't completely turn the planet into a lifeless desert. Dinosaurs became extinct.
No, they didn't. Birds were still alive, although they were almost completely wiped out as well. Any animal above 25 kilograms in mass were gone.
But small and inconspicuous mammals waited out the disaster in burrows deep underground. Later, they took advantage of the lack of competition from the huge reptiles and achieved supremacy in the new world of the Cenozoic era. Though, that's another story.
Okay, so this video is, again, it's more like a story than anything. It's done a terrible job at being an educational video. I thought we're talking about dinosaurs, but then we're talking about insects, mammals, the geology. It's just massive clickbait intended to drag on the entire video. So, yeah, that wasn't a good video at all. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. See you all next time.